What is up, everyone? Welcome to today's News Tonight, the nightly news show where we record live in front of our patrons and have special guests with us today like Amber, aka Lady Pelvic, to join us to talk about the news topics of the day. If you want to join us in our live audience, you can head on over to patreon.com/gvgaming to find out how to join us live every weeknight. I'm joined tonight by my fellow co-founders in Good Vibes Gaming, Ash Paulson and Derek Bittner. And of course, as I mentioned, the guest of the hour, Amber, aka Lady Pelvic. I'm going to throw it to you. How you doing tonight, Amber?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. Some of you guys I've played Among Us with. Ash, my rival of What's That Track? So, we got some going on. But I'm so honored to be here, and thank you so much. Good vibes all around, baby.
Heck yeah.
It's only fitting that you have a history with this channel before even most of us here do. So it's really great to have you back on.
Yeah, I know.
On the new iteration of this channel. And, furthermore, that you did it with Ash. So hopefully we'll get a new episode of What's That Track on eventually. And Ash, I think you'll be hosting that. So
I will be, yeah. John gave me his blessing to carry the show forward, and perhaps we could even have John back as a guest host for What's That Track in the future, where Lady Pelvic and I can compete in JRPG tracks again, round 2. That'd be fun.
Man, that would be so cool.
my redemption arc, redemption arc, because I need that.
She's going to be listening to just constant soundtracks to prepare.
Oh,
yeah.
I know, right? All right, folks, so let's go ahead and jump into the news. We've got a full slate of topics tonight, which is interesting because it felt like a slow news day, but we found stuff. So let's go ahead and start with this one. Twitter user ShineSparkers says an image of Metroid's Samus Returns on Switch was put up on NOA's site, which fueled rumors. But looking further into it, it's like a skin from controller gear, and they kind of mapped a screenshot onto the Switch screen. My personal take on this is that it's probably just somebody in the marketing department at Controller Gear saying like, "Oh, that's a Metroid screen.
Yeah.
Let's put that on the Switch." But Ash, I want to Derek, our resident Metroid guy, I want to throw this to you first. What do you make of this? Is this just smoke or is there fire?
Oh, no, it's definitely just smoke because it's been easily proven wrong. It's the skin itself is Super Metroid. I think that's the telltale part right there. It's for Super Metroid. And ShineSparkers, which I took a little look into that, and they're a Metroid fan community, and even they came down and said, no, this isn't real. They actually have the same screen with the different attachments to have those skins, and each one has a screenshot from a different game. So it's literally just pasting on what it is. This really doesn't mean anything. That said, and the reason I actually picked this topic isn't because it was supposed to be a thing and it's not a thing and it could be a thing. The thing is, it really could happen. I don't think this is indicative of that, but I do think Metroid Samus Returns could end up on the Switch because Mercury Steam did it. And if you played Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate, that was originally on the 3DS and eventually did get an HD port just on digital. And it's fine. It was great. I mean, it up-resed it a bit, and I think they did the same technique for Samus Returns. So by all accounts, we should be able to get Samus Returns on the Switch.
And it's a shame that game showed up at
nice.
the tail end of the 3DS,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a really good game, and it had one of the best tie-in amiibo ever. Like, I love that little squishy Metroid amiibo.
It was really good.
I want to toss this topic over to Amber real quick. What do you think about this? Is Derek right here? Is this just all smoke, or do you think there's a different angle to this?
Oh no, I agree with Derek 100%. I was like, as wonderful as it would be, and by the way, I've never played a Metroid game. Should I say that on this podcast?
No, you can say that.
Ooh.
But I haven't played one. I want to. I want to. I hear this is the one of the ones that you should start off with, or the baby one.
The one that you should start off with probably is Metroid Zero Mission, which is on Game Boy Advance, is a remake of the original Metroid. Just nice, easy way to put you into the mood, get you an idea, and can really go from that point. This one is a little tough at the beginning, so it might not be the best Metroid to start with, but Zero Mission, Fusion, both of those are really good to get you kind of into the formula, and then you can jump over to Super Metroid and get that flow. But that's what
I would even say, I mean, if you're not too concerned about story, if you just want to try to dip your toes in, I don't think there's anything wrong with starting with Super Metroid either. I do think Zero Mission is probably the best entry point, but I don't really see anything wrong with starting with Super Metroid either. On that note, Derek, I want to say that I also agree with you that it's just there's nothing to this, but for different reasons. I didn't even need to look into any of this, do any research, none of that. It's 2020, man. If something good could possibly happen, it's 2020. The rule is it is not. So let's just assuming that it's 2020 rule.
That is so depressing.
That's true.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, if it comes out by 2021, that's different. Yeah, that's
true. I can think of at least one good thing that happened in 2020.
Yeah, that's true.
We're all starring on it right now.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
All right.
I think another kind of thing that could lead off of this isn't the Metroid anniversary next year as well? Like, isn't it like 35th or something like that? Because I think it came out in 86?
Did it come out the same year as Zelda?
Might have. I know it came out the same year
Zelda
as...
35th is next year, isn't it?
35th?
I thought they skipped
really?
Metroid's
they
anniversary
do.
at some point in time.
No,
Don't
it
they
is
like always
35th.
like kind of
Yeah, it is.
skip over it?
But maybe they want to do more with it since we got Prime 4 coming. So maybe, hey, here's Samus Returns. Hey, here's Metroid Prime Trilogy. Hey, here's 4.
You think?
Who knows?
You think they'd get a trilogy
I
like
mean,
they did with
Prime
Mario?
Trilogy.
You think so?
That's an interesting point, Amber. I think that Derek might be onto something here because before we got the formal, like, real announcement about Mario 3D All-Stars, we did start seeing like a glut of Mario themed accessories and tchotchkes and stuff coming out from third-party companies. And everyone's like, oh, this means the 3D collection's coming soon. And they turned out to be right. So you never know. This could be the start of a wave, and maybe we'll get a bunch of retro Metroid games dropped on the Switch next year.
Yeah.
That would be insanely cool. I would welcome that with open arms.
Yeah.
I feel like Prime Trilogy for the Switch is one of the worst kept open secrets. Like, I mean, we don't have any official confirmation of it, but it seems so incredibly likely that it's in development over, with several signs pointing toward that and rumors and such over the several months that we've had to speculate about this. So it would track for them to actually hold that back for Metroid's 35th anniversary. That, I could see that happening.
And Dan Entwistle in the chat did say, yep, 1986, which... Wow, 1986 was a good year for Nintendo.
Yeah,
that's for
no
sure.
joke.
But,
well, the 80s in general were good to Nintendo.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, so moving on. Phil Spencer denied a Bloomberg report stating Microsoft approached Japanese studios for acquisition. This came to us by way of Nibel on Twitter, a good friend of the channel, who picked it up from GameSpot. And I'm just going to call BS on this right now. Like, really? Microsoft doesn't want to buy a Japanese studio? Bullshit.
I know.
They absolutely do.
They
I
do.
mean, Xbox has struggled in Japan for as long as Xbox has existed. It's no secret that the Xbox One failed miserably. The 360 was like constantly on shelves like the day of launch, like it was a joke that, you could just you could maybe get together 10 people in Japan who had an Xbox. So the brand has zero traction in Japan. They're getting better. Yakuza launching on Series X is a huge move for them. And I can't imagine that if they were willing to pull a move like that they weren't eyeing a Japanese studio for purchase. It just seems crazy. Like, I bet Sega, at a minimum, was approached.
I completely agree with that because you guys heard about Sega selling their arcade division, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually didn't. Oh.
We discussed that here a couple nights ago.
Did we? I don't remember saying that.
We
it
talked about...
It was on the GX podcast, actually.
That's right.
You mixed them up already.
We mixed them up. It's actually on the GX podcast that we talked about it.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
I did not.
That's funny.
I agree with you, Steve. I think it's absolutely likely that they have approached various Japanese studios. I know personally and selfishly, I hope none of those deals ever go through because I kind of depend on PlayStation to be in my catch-all, all the Japanese franchises I want to play. I don't really play a lot of Xbox just because have never really needed to. I don't play Halo. I don't play a lot of Gears, stuff like that. So I really don't want to see someone like Sega or Square Enix or Platinum or whomever go exclusive to Xbox. But I also wouldn't want to see them go exclusive to PlayStation either. I really kind of like those third parties being on both. But I, of course, agree with you. Microsoft, it would be a huge get for them were they to do that and land the deal.
You said it.
Yeah.
You said it. I couldn't agree more. Sorry. I just couldn't imagine,
No.
Japanese games just moving strictly to Xbox, right? I've never owned an Xbox in my life. I've never been an Xbox player. I've always been PlayStation Nation baby, or obviously Nintendo as well. But I would be heartbroken, you know? Like, I can't imagine Square being bought by Xbox. I mean, they'd have to put an exorbitant amount of money, but
the only one that kind of clicks for me as something they'd buy is Sega, because Sega would get them a lot of classic series. It would get them Sonic, and it would get them at this point Atlas, which means Persona, which that's wild. I don't know how that goes.
I think that Derek's onto something here, because Microsoft and Sega have always been very close. Like Jet Set Radio Future and Shenmue 2 were on the original Xbox. Now they've got PSO2 as an American exclusive on Xbox. Yakuza Like a Dragon is launching first on Series X for the next generation. And it definitely seems like Microsoft is desperately trying to make inroads with Sega. But I also agree, it would be a tragedy if that happened. I think that Sega and Sony are a really great match, but I think Sega and Nintendo are like a match made in heaven. I
agree.
Love Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. It's goofy. It's weird. It embraces that rivalry. I'm still waiting for a Mario and Sonic platformer. I want that in my life so bad.
It's not going to happen.
I know it'll probably never happen,
I've
but
given up hope.
If I could have Sonic in the Mushroom Kingdom and Mario in Green Hill Zone, I would be on cloud 9. Like, I would be so thrilled to see that. But
Sonic is one of those interesting situations where he feels at home on Nintendo, even though there's no appreciable reason to actually say that. He's just one of those, he's a character from that era who does feel like he's most at home on Nintendo after Sega, of course, exited the hardware space. Kind of like Mega Man, I guess. You know, like people were so upset that you didn't see the Legacy collections on Switch at first because Mega Man feels at home in the same way that Sonic does on Nintendo. So I totally see what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree. I want to share an interesting story about how unpopular Xbox is with Japanese publishers. This was at E3 2017 or 18 maybe, and I was desperately trying to get a look at Final Fantasy 15 at the Square Enix booth. And I walked up to the media rep and I was like, hey, I just want to jump in to take a quick look, because if you're not aware, if you have a media badge, a lot of the way that it works is 9 times out of 10, you have an appointment in a back room. But if for whatever reason you can't get one, they usually have 1 or 2 stations on the show floor reserved for media, saying like, oh, hey, we'll let the public use this, but if a media person comes through and we couldn't fit them in, we'll let them take, front of the line for this. And they were like, yeah, we just don't have any floor spaces available for you to check out Final Fantasy 15. And then she paused and she said, unless you want to try it on Xbox. And she pointed, and there were just 3 Xbox Ones running the exact same demo that no one was even trying to play. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll hop in. I'll try it. But literally just no one had any interest in playing Final Fantasy 15 on anything but a PlayStation. So yeah, if Microsoft managed to land a deal like that, it would undoubtedly be both a massive blow to Sony and to the fandom of that publisher in general. So I wonder if it'll ever happen, but I think there's just such a anti-Xbox stigma in Japan that they're going to have a rough time overcoming that. I don't think any company would sell to them unless they were just in dire straits.
It's so funny you say that.
Steve, I don't know if you've heard.
I think Pelvic's trying to talk for a while. That's right.
I'm sorry.
Amber, I will say this right now. Just jump in.
Okay, I try not to be rude.
Talk over any of us, please.
Okay. No, but it's so funny that Steve says that, because that same scenario happened with Kingdom Hearts 3. I remember there was this long line for Kingdom Hearts 3, and there was room to play it on Xbox. But everybody, including myself, was like, no, I'll pass. I waited for 4 hours to play it on PlayStation because, I was like, I'm not touching an Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
burns.
That is funny that it really is. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, I don't know if you guys know anything about Japanese culture, but honor and shame are huge parts of it. And when Square Enix went over, decided to be, friendly to Microsoft, they ruined any chances they could have of having a good rep. That's a NeoGAF joke, by the way, if anybody didn't catch that.
I didn't get it.
Fair enough.
Whatever.
Really quickly before we move on, I just wanted to highlight something Dan and Twistle said earlier when we were talking about Metroid in 2020, and he said, if we're doing 2020 vibes, then it's Metroid Prime HD Collection Cloud version, available for purchase until March 2021.
Oh God,
that would be the way. That would be the way to give us what we want and ruin it at the same time.
Right.
All right, so moving forward, and we're just one story away from the obligatory Mega Man mention of the show. Showtime's Halo TV recasts Cortana with original voice actors. So this comes via way of an exclusive from IGN, and they've told us that the Halo TV show in production by Showtime has ditched their current voice actress for Cortana and replaced her with the woman that did the original voice.
The voice for
I think this
every
is good.
game. Yeah, it's an interesting situation because I read the article, and the actress involved who was going to voice Cortana is still in the show. She's going to be voicing the creator of she's going to be playing the creator of Cortana, and in the Halo series, Cortana and that creator were voiced by the same person. It was sort of that connection, sort of same thing, and that was supposed to happen, but because of pandemic, they had to change plans, and so they just got the original voice actress. So everybody's still involved. It's just, I guess, a little bit more faithful to how the Halo series is. I'll be honest, I grabbed this news because there's a Halo TV series coming. I had no idea.
Yeah, I feel like Microsoft has flirted with the idea of a Halo show for years now, because I remember there being like a trailer out there for a Halo TV series, and it just kind of fizzled out and never went anywhere. But people were hyped. I'm not a huge Halo guy. I like it, but I don't get into the extended lore. Like I like fighting on a giant space onion ring and then turning my Xbox off and going to bed. So, I mean, Ash, do you have a take on this? I imagine you're not a big Halo guy either.
No, I'm not. But I mean, I of course understand how significant it is, to have the original voice of Cortana back. And even if I'm not into Halo, I'm obviously very well connected to the voice acting world and understand how important voice acting is. Given my pedigree and such. So, it isn't just Halo that you would see this in. It is so important for fans in any medium. Cartoons, video games, doesn't matter, that you get the original voice, representing a returning character. Just think of the Animaniacs reboot that's about to start. If it weren't,
I wonder
Rob
why you
Paulson,
bring that up.
Jess Hardell, and Trust Me Neil as Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, people probably wouldn't watch it. I don't think it would. I don't think it would succeed.
I mean, just look at the
Powerpuff Girls. No matter
Girls
what you're
reboot.
talking about, exactly. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. People really latch onto those original voices, and that's totally the case with Cortana, and that makes sense.
I agree. Amber, what's your thought on this?
I don't know anything about Halo, but I think Ash, I just agree with Ash all the time. I feel like I'm just like, yes, what Ash says. Yes, indeed. But
Ash
it
is
true.
not
People
always
have
right.
These...
Yeah, that's
I like the sound of this. You guys could learn something.
Oh my God.
No, but it is true. People have these connections to these characters. And the moment you change a voice, it's like, for Xenoblade, they kept Melia's voice, which was nice. Unfortunately, she did grow up and her voice did change in the Xenoblade epilogue, which sent her a Melia. But there was still something to be appreciated. It's still Melia, it's still my girl. She's still here, and so many fans relate to that, including myself. I was like, original voice cast, wow, crazy,
And that was especially true for Melia because she went on to be on Doctor Who. She was a companion.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the fact, I did not expect them to get her back. So that was amazing that they pulled it off.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are getting deep here. I've never seen Doctor Who.
Xenoblade is a perfect example. I can't, Definitive Edition would have been so disappointing if any of the main cast had been replaced. I'm so glad they used the original voice track because that voice track is so iconic. And if they didn't bring Adam Howden back as Shulk and they had someone else record the lines, I honestly don't know if I'd want to play it. His performance and all their performances are so key to what makes that game so special, among so many other things, of course.
Xenoblade has one of the most powerful... I'm sorry, you said talk over. Now I'm talking over. Now I feel rude. What is it?
No, go.
Please,
talk.
No, I think Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, or just Xenoblade Chronicles, has one of the most powerful examples of voice acting I've ever heard in video games. Every time Shulk screamed, cried, there was heartache, someone got stabbed. I just goosebumps. I could cry. I could just I'd be like, oh Shulk, I feel you. It's okay, baby, I'm here. And that it was so good. It was amazing. I think Xenoblade Chronicle just knocked it out of the park with the voice actors. And if they replaced a single one of them, everybody, even Nopon Ricky, right? It was just everybody was so important to that game. I couldn't imagine the game being the same without him.
Mm.
Yeah, Evernight Studio says it perfectly. Whenever I hear Shulk scream, Fiora! it's just goosebumps everywhere.
I think that's why so many people were down on Rex, because he could not scream like Shulk could.
Don't get me started.
I just
Easy peasy.
Yeah, I didn't like Rex just because he couldn't scream, but I had no frame of reference. I've actually never played the original Xenoblade. So I probably need to put that on my list at some point, because I really do love Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Let's go ahead and get to Ash's obligatory Mega Man mention of the episode. Capcom announced sales numbers today for, you guessed it, Street Fighter V. No, Mega Man 11 hit 1.3 million units sold, making it the best selling in the series, behind Mega Man Battle Network 4 at 1.35 and Mega Man 2 at 1.5. Mega Man 2 is probably my favorite OG Mega Man, though 11 really, really fights for that top spot in my heart. Like, I played through 11.
Solid as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is so good. I absolutely love it. But Ash, I mean, it is very obvious that I have to throw this to you because the fans would revolt. So why don't you take us through this? How do you feel about this?
I think this is fantastic. And as I understand it, all the recent Legacy collections are all doing quite well. I think a couple of them have also hit over 1 million. But Mega Man 11 hitting 1.3 million is fantastic news. It just adds, to the truth that Mega Man is back. We're not looking at a hiatus like we were a few years ago. I think Mega Man is once again considered an active franchise by Capcom. We already know from Mega Man 11's producer that the next big mainline Mega Man project has been in production for at least a year now. Actually, probably like a year and a half. So I've been saying this everywhere. A few of you, I'm sure, have heard me say this. I really do think Mega Man X9 is coming. I think it's in production. I think Capcom sees the strong performance of games like Mega Man 11, and I think they are... I don't think we're ever going to go back to like the mid-2000s where we were getting a new, Mega Man sub-series release every month or something. It was definitely oversaturated for a while, and I totally admit that. What I also get from this is that Mega Man fans are just as likely to have bad taste as fans of any other franchise, because Mega Man Battle Network 4, being the second best-selling Mega Man game of all time, is a travesty because it was by far the worst Battle Network game. Like, it wasn't even close. It's by far the worst.
Maybe because 3 was so good, everybody picked it up.
I think you're right.
So weird.
3 was so good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the thing I kind of clinch on here so much, is I did not realize Battle Network 4 was the second highest selling Mega Man game, because I've never played the Battle Network games, and we're due for another Capcom collection. So I think based off this, I think Battle Network.
I think it's going to happen. I think Battle Network Legacy Collection is going to happen.
I need to find it since I moved, but I have like a Rockman EXE figure on my desk. I absolutely love Battle Network. I even picked up like the GameCube game that was closer to a traditional Mega Man game, and it is one of my favorite Mega Man games for no apparent reason. But Amber, we haven't heard... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No,
I was going to say, Amber, we haven't heard your take on this at all. Are you a Mega Man fan at all?
No.
That's okay. Wow, we found the thing she disagrees with Ash on.
No, okay. I shouldn't say I'm not a fan. It's just I haven't played in years. Like, I mean, since I was like a child. I remember loving the animated series, if that counts as something. Ash,
it does.
The Ruby Spears one?
You know what? I'm actually glad you mentioned that, Amber, for 2 things, actually. One, there's a door. There's a door right there.
Oh, man.
I'm kidding, of course. No, but the other thing is that I think his name is Jack Spears, but either way, the creator, one of the co-creators of the Mega Man animated series, just passed away, I think, on Monday or a couple of days ago.
Oh, so I had no idea. Wait, the guy behind Scooby-Doo also did the Mega Man series?
Yeah.
Wow.
He did. Yeah. And so rest in peace. As much as that cartoon is silly, I still love the hell out of it. And it was such a fun representation of Mega Man. So rest in peace, Mr. Spears. It was a really cool show.
So
I still wish we'd get a cartoon based on bad box art Mega Man, though.
Oh God, I think bad box art Mega Man died when the whole Street Fighter Cross Tekken thing happened, and just pissed off fans.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's too bad too, because I don't think that would have pissed off fans the way it did if it just hadn't happened at the time that it did. That was right in the middle of that horrible Mega Man drought where like Capcom was doing shit all with Mega Man. It was really unfortunate. So I think it was unfortunately bad timing. But to bring it back to Mega Man 11, it's a great game. It deserves the sales, and I hope this points to a bright future for Mega Man. I can't wait to find out what the next big project is that's in the works. I think it's going to be either X9 or 12. So we'll see.
By the way, Amber. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
going to just make a suggestion for you since you hadn't played Mega Man in a while. If you, being an RPG fan, JRPG fan, you're probably into the anime craziness storylines.
Love it.
You'll
Love
enjoy
it.
the Zero series. Those
Okay,
are
that's-
perfect. Probably the most tightly written Mega Man games and really good continuity. If you want a more Zelda-like experience, Legends. I love Legends. That's what got me into Mega Man.
Mega Man
So,
Legends is so special.
One of my patrons actually sent me Legends on PS3, so I actually own all, like with Bon Troy. I don't know her name.
Misadventures of Tron Bon. Yeah.
That too, like that one. Yeah, see, Ash knows what I'm trying to say. But they sent me all of that. They're like, "You
Of
love
course.
this, so you got to play it." So it's kind of on my list to play, you know. But that's actually great that you said something, Derek, because I was gonna ask, is this a good entry point? Like, is it 11? Like, is 11 a good start for people like me? Is it like welcoming?
It actually
is it easy
is.
enough?
Yeah.
Because I hear Mega Man is very very like, you know, well, challenging. Yeah,
Like, you don't have
It
to
ain't
be
easy.
like, especially the classic series, you can pretty much jump in anywhere, especially with the legacy collections, because there are ways to make them all easier. And unless you're like a Mega Man nerd like I am, you don't really have to pay attention to the story very much. It's like the X series, yes. And actually, I was going to say, if you do play the Zero series, I would recommend at least playing the first 5 X games, because you get so much more out of the Zero games.
You just play these
sorry,
5
play the
games
first
before
five
playing
this,
these
play
games.
five
Set a
these, and
prereq
then
of
play
5
these.
games.
But if you just play the classic games, I don't think you need to worry about it. Just jump in at 11 or something.
Maybe it would be easier if you just played Legends.
I say play Legends. Play Legends. I think that would be most up your alley, and it's so charming.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of the things that I remember loving about Legends when I was younger is that I'm 95% sure, Ash, you could probably answer this for me as both a Mega Man fan and a voice acting person. I'm 95% sure that the American voice actress that portrayed Bulma in Dragon Ball Z was also in the original Mega Man Legends.
That may be true. I
I'm
can't
not
say for
sure on
sure,
that
but if
one.
she's Canadian, then probably, because the English voice track for Mega Man Legends was recorded in Canada. They're
Yeah, 'cause-
Canadian voice actors, so...
Yeah, to be clear, I'm talking about the ocean dub of Dragon Ball. So if any Dragon Ball / Mega Man super fans are in the chat tonight, let me know if I'm right on that one.
Maybe.
I remember her portraying a reporter. There's a cutscene in the game where Mega Man's running and the girl's like, "He's all alone" or something like that. And I was
I
like,
know
"That's
what you're
Bulma."
talking
Yeah, I know the
it's
exact scene you're
Bulma.
talking about.
Probably it's her, yeah.
Yeah.
That might, but yeah, basically, Amber, like, playing Mega Man Legend is like playing a Saturday morning anime. It's so charming and so good. So
really
yeah, if you get a
is.
chance to get around to it, it's one of a kind.
Okay, cool. No, I believe you. I'll take your word for it.
So let's throw Amber something a little more up her alley. Being a member of the PlayStation Nation, like yours truly, Sony believes that the PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 transition will take 3 years. This comes from VG247, and I gotta say, this seems like par for the course kind of stuff. I could have sworn that the transition from PS3 to PS4 took that long. So
That's what I was going to
think they're-
ask.
they're-
Yeah, how long did that take? So
Yeah, I'm surprised that this is like news. But I guess people are always kind of shocked by how long, companies continue to support old consoles, right? Especially Sony. They kind of have a long tail on their consoles, but kind of makes sense. PS4 is insanely popular, and PS5 definitely will be. But
right.
you're not going to get 60 million people to pick up a PS5 day one.
That was my point. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is why wouldn't they take their time? People don't have money to drop, especially in 2020.
Right.
And like PlayStation, I still think people are playing PlayStation. Well, obviously, people are still playing PlayStation 4. There's plenty of games coming out, plenty of games that will continue to come out for it. So why? I don't know why people would be surprised by this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it seems it seems weird to me. Like right now, a lot of stuff is cross-gen too. Like you can buy the PS4 version and get the PS5 version. Supposedly, I haven't seen it work yet. But, supposedly, on a lot of games, you buy the PS4 version and you pick up the PS5 version for free later on. Ash, I know Ash and Derek, you guys are both considering getting a PS5. Like Derek, for you, it's Ratchet and Clank. Ash, for you, it's Horizon later in 2021. Could you guys see yourselves holding off if Sony continues to just pump out PS4 versions of the PS5 games?
No, because I have not heard any word about Ratchet and Clank coming to PS4, so bye.
Oh, that's fair.
Right. And like, I mean, even though I've said many times that I'm in no rush for visuals to get any better, I think current gen games look amazing. A game like Horizon Forbidden West, that's going to be such a showcase, right, for true next gen, visuals and performance. That is the kind of game that I'd want to make sure I have a 4K TV, a PS5. Like, I don't want to play the PS4 version of that game, So
that's fair.
Whether I have one by Horizon or not, which I probably will. I mean, I'm a member of the PlayStation Nation as well. I love PlayStation and Nintendo to death, and so yeah, I mean, I'm going to get a PS5 sooner rather than later. And if I can find one this week, maybe I'll just go ahead and drop the money on it now. Who knows? But I don't have a 4K TV quite yet. I'm waiting for Black Friday, so may not be quite worth it yet.
That's a good question. Let's do a temp check in the chat here or in this episode. Who all has a 4K TV?
Yeah, do any of us? I mean, I know you do, Steve. Okay, you do, Derek.
Yeah. I picked up
I don't.
So when I moved into my old townhouse, my TV that I had set up, I set up in my office, and it's freaking huge and just took up so much space and was so hard to manage. So I actually got a smaller TV, but I also made sure I was like, well, let's finally get that 4K TV and kind of make it a nice lateral move to make it do there. And actually that TV right there is my 4K TV. So boom, a nice visual representation. I'm actually curious, Amber, whether you're going to how long are you waiting on PS5, or did you already get one?
My thing is this: I care about the games, and so far, admittedly, there's no games that are coming out launch day that I desire. I will say Ratchet and Clank actually looks really cool. I've never played a Ratchet and Clank, but seeing like those swift, smooth rift transitions looked nice. I was like, wow. But my thing, if they would have announced like a Nier game, anything Yoko Taro, I would have bought it because I'm just a Yoko Taro I just love Yoko Taro
Guard
so much.
HD.
I would have bought it. I would have been the sucker who bought it. Okay, 100%. But there's just not any game. The only game I think that they announced that is coming, it's not a launch title, is I think God of War Part 2, if you would, But everything else I can wait. My backlog is on Switch. It's on PlayStation 4. I still have some PlayStation 3 games, so I'm not necessarily in a rush for PS5. Because in fact, I got my PlayStation 4 4 years after launch day. I'm one of those people. I got it on sale. I'm one of those people, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Hey, I mean, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't for me until PlayStation 4 that I actually started picking up PlayStations when they come out. I bought the PS3 when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, and I got the PS2 when Metal Gear Solid 2 came out. So, basically, when you release a Metal Gear game, maybe not anymore, but I'll pick up a PlayStation for that, apparently. I'm not really thrilled to see Metal Gear Solid 6 if that ever comes into existence, however. Death Stranding's close enough.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, we've got a bit of Nintendo news. So, Age of Calamity reviews, or at least a Age of Calamity review, is out in Japan, and Famitsu has given the game straight 9s. And I'm both surprised and not surprised. Nintendo always performs extremely well in Famitsu. I mean, they get a lot of perfect scores there. So, and it's hard to judge a game we haven't played. None of us here have played the full game. We don't have it yet. But from what I've seen so far, it seems like a competent Musou game, and it probably tells the best story ever in a Musou game. That is
that
almost
a Persona 5. I still need to see what Scramble offers up. We need Scramble.
That's true. Persona 5 Scramble and AOC I could see being in a dead heat to be the best game Koei Tecmo's ever made. I really want to play both of those. I have the Japanese demo for both of those on my Switch. And I don't know. Age of Calamity, I've said it before, didn't really click with me just because of the technical issues, but I will definitely pick it up just to experience what the hell happened 100 years before Breath of the Wild. That to me is enough to sell me on almost any piece of media. But Derek, you're definitely probably the AOC super fan in the room here. So what's your take on this? Do you think
somehow
those
I
scores
played
are
most
well-earned?
Musou games? It's hard to say right now. I do know, as Jared Ediger says in the chat, Famitsu does tend to softball, and it used to be I remember growing up, Famitsu was always oh my gosh, it got all 10s, it must be an amazing game. And then you kind of figured out the business behind Famitsu, or at least it changed a bit, and it's that's not such a big deal anymore. But still, I think it's a good sign, and I honestly, let's be honest. I think most people are picking up this game because of the lore. People want to see what happened.
Exactly.
Want to see how it's all going to go. We got the nice Eggy, like people love him. And Musos are power fantasies. It feels good to play those games and see these characters do these amazing moves. I know tons of people who are dying to play as Urbosa. Cannot wait to try out Urbosa and do her whole thing.
I mean, yeah.
I was
Actually,
about to
Dan
say, I
just
think
said
one
that.
of them's wearing a red shirt right here.
Yeah.
And Dan and Twistle just literally said, as you said that, Derek, I'm picking up to play as the Queen Urbosa. And I also agree with that. I also can't wait to play as Mifa. They're like my two favorite champions. And I don't put any stock in Famitsu reviews. I'm just going to say it. I mean, I'm not going to go so far as to say that their reviews are bought and paid for. I don't think it's that simple. But, they do have a certain reputation. And I don't think that I don't think that you can put too much stock in Famitsu reviews, seeing as they tend to score games quite highly. So either way, though, who cares? I'm getting Age of Calamity. And Charlie Bird said what I wanted to say. You really threw me off when you guys were calling it AOC, because I'm totally thinking of Alexandria.
Yeah,
Dude, I was thinking
I
the
do that a
same
lot
thing.
too.
Every single time. I'm like,
100%.
Why are we talking about her in this?
Yeah, I was like, what game is this?
AOC plays AOC.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That would be great, actually. Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think I know I would be playing it for the lore. It's weird because I think I was actually more excited for the first Hyrule Warriors game, simply because it's characters that we grew up with, that we know and love, and it was just seeing them in HD. Like Princess Ruto, is like my favorite princess. I love her, and just being able to play as her was awesome. Seeing that like Marin from Link's Awakening was seemingly forgotten about, right? And then you can play as her, and I was like, whoa, you can play as Tingle. I mean, what? What's going on? You can literally use the Great Fairy as a weapon. So it was a really cool take on that. But with Age of Calamity, don't get me wrong, I'm going to play it. I love Zelda as much as the next person, but I do feel like kind of bogged down just because it's with characters that maybe I just didn't grow up with, because it's not that I don't love them. Like, I love Urbosa, right? And I love Link, and I do love Zelda. But some of them, a lot of them that they announced, like the new Impa chick, that Impa version of Impa, the other girl who looks like Impa, the inventor people, I was like, I forgot who they were. I hate to say it, but I kind of forgot who they were. So I feel slightly tame when going into this game, because it's with characters that I just never were attached to, So, and I'm wondering, am I alone in this? If I'm alone in this, that's fine. I've been alone.
No, you're totally not.
It took me a little bit because I honestly completely forgot about Robbie. I'm like, everybody's talking about Robbie. I'm like, wait, who the heck's Robbie? Completely slipped my mind. The other characters I've stuck with, because I did not 100% Breath of the Wild, but I did all the shrines and all that stuff.
Me too.
Screw the Korok seeds.
Same. Same.
But there is that aspect, and I get it. It's not that it's a very different vibe to what the original Hyrule Warriors did. Where Hyrule Warriors, the original Hyrule Warriors, is definitely more traditional, and let's make up a plot, have all these characters come together for some reason, just so we can make a game like this. And it's very much akin to. I don't know if you've tried these. I know you're a Dragon Quest fan, Amber, but Dragon Quest Heroes.
Not yet, but I want to. I saw Angelo in HD, baby. I was like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
And I think that those are some of the better Muso games as well. They're a lot of fun. I have not played Dragon Quest V, but it made me a huge fan of Bianca. Just because I loved her playstyle. I'm like, okay, I know there's a question of who you marry in that game. It's like, no, Bianca. Just because
That's
of
why I chose.
Dragon Quest Heroes.
Nice.
She's
So
canon.
I think Muso games have a way of getting you attached to characters that you might not be attached to otherwise. So maybe you actually will grow to like these characters more than you did in Breath of the Wild, because you really did not get a chance to connect with them in Breath of the Wild. Story was the weakest point, which I think is why people are so thirsty for this lore, because we got so little in the original one.
Thirsty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point.
It's a totally different. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Gamber. Go ahead.
Oh no, I agree. It's as you said, a completely different vibe, and I think there's no better way to tell the lore of a great war, right, than through a Muso game. So I think they made the right call during doing this. But I do hope to connect with the characters more and be like, oh, make them memorable to me. Because you're right, they came and went to me I was like, bye. Like, I have other stuff.
Well,
to
that's
do.
the thing. It's like the original Hyrule Warriors can lean on all that nostalgia, right? Because it's literally a who's who of all these big characters from Zelda games past that you played growing up. But for Breath of the Wild had a skeleton of a great story, but it just didn't have the meat of one. The setup was really interesting, but then you're basically thrown into this world and told, well, hey, all these really cool characters and all this really interesting stuff, they all happened 100 years ago. Go have fun. And so this game is finally delivering on what I think is that promise of a great story in Breath of the Wild. My only concern from what I played of the demo is that time travel seems to be an element.
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask you guys if you've all played the demo yet. And
yeah, I was about to say, I'm going to call bullshit on that. Like, this story is primed to be bad. I mean,
I'm worried.
I did not
have never
even
seen
know
a
that.
company more effectively dampen my hype with a demo than Nintendo with Age of Calamity. They pulled out all the stops in making me approach this game with caution. Like, if they had not released that demo, I would be at GameStop chucking my wallet on the counter demanding my copy. But now I'm like, man, I better wait for those reviews to come out. I'm not sure that this is a game that is for me. And it's not just the technical performance, but like Ash said, the time travel thing really spooks me. Because you had like a story pre-written for you that was going to be one of the most amazing ever. And they're like, you know what? We could do this and take the easy route, but we could also potentially make it really bad. We should explore that. And I'm worried that someone in Koei Tecmo's office was like, we have to make them win in the end, or else the player will be upset. And I'm going to be upset if I do win.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, oh, go ahead, Derek.
Well, the thing is, I'm always try to look on the positive side of things, wait to see how it happens. I think, one of the more positive people out there in regards to Final Fantasy VII Remake's ending. I know I drew a hard line in the sand for a lot of people.
I loved it.
But with this, time travel might be more of a tool to make the game more exciting. Because if we didn't have the time travel, we wouldn't have the ability to fight Guardians. We wouldn't have maybe a more central villain, because Ganon is not an interesting villain in Breath of the Wild. There's nothing to him. It's just waves and waves, and you need to build more of a story off that. So I think there's story reasons that you try to lean on the time travel. I'm not sure if it's all that good. What I am grateful for is it's not time travel that went too far back, because we don't know how far back Eggy actually went, because it starts with the Ganon taking over and then him jumping back in time to somewhere before Link even became a champion.
A champion, yeah.
So at least it's not too far. It's not jumping from Breath of the Wild itself to this. I'm cautiously optimistic that they can pull this off. We'll see.
I think the thing is that time travel is just hard to pull off in the best of circumstances, right? And so much of what makes Breath of the Wild story what it is that element of tragedy that Link actually lost. And I just, Evernight Studio said it perfectly. The time travel might be an early sign of incoming retcons. That's what I don't want to see happen. I don't want to see the dark stuff, the tragedy, the fact that Link did lose. I don't want to see that retconned. And so I really hope they don't mess with what they already have too much. And I hope that we're not setting up Breath of the Wild 2 to somehow retcon everything and give everyone a happy ending. Like, I don't know. I really would prefer not to see that personally. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I'm still excited for it, but I am concerned about the time travel element for sure.
I did not even know that there was a time travel element, which makes me very sad and very skeptical now. Because they have to figure out how to give the player satisfaction, like some sort of like, we have overcome something, but we did not win, if that makes sense.
Right.
While keeping the tragedy, because you're right. If they retcon it, people are gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad. I like tragedy and dark subject matter in my games, right? But yeah, they need to be very careful with this.
I think this is just my brighter brain working at this point. I think there's a way they can pull this off where the final boss is Ganon, but it's Zelda trying to, like, you unlock a special Zelda where she has her full power, and you have this final boss fight between Zelda and Ganon to contain him, and then it ends tragically. Also, I want Eggy to die. I love Eggy, but he needs to die in this, and really just drive that stake into people's hearts. But if the final boss fight is that, you've sold me.
I want this game, no joke, to deliver us like Zelda's microwave hallway moment. I want a moment where Zelda is beaten and battered and delivering Link to the Shrine of Resurrection and leaving the Master Sword in the pedestal and then going off to fight Ganon. Like, I would be so stoked if that was just the end of the game. Like, let her have to battle the odds to save Link's life and then just let it ride from there. That would be my dream ending for this game. But we've gone deep on the lore of Zelda, so we need to go to something with even more deeper lore. And of course, I'm talking about Minecraft Dungeons, which is getting crossplay next week, apparently, according to VG247. Did you like that? That was a pretty rough segue.
You might say you dug yourself a hole there.
That we can say what?
You might say you dug yourself a hole there.
Oh,
I like it.
Oh, nice.
I like it.
But yeah, so I'm all for crossplay, like in literally anything. I think that the more we connect people on different platforms, the better. I literally cannot think of a negative instance of this happening.
Especially for 2020, right? You know, like with COVID, like people can't see people, you know, people can't hang out, people can't sit on couches, you know what I mean? Like all bundled together, like playing games, you know, it's nice that I can have my Nintendo Switch, you can have your PlayStation, and then we can play some Minecraft, you know? And bring us together in this this timeline.
Yeah, my daughter has a Switch, and my nephews have an Xbox that they share. And I was able to hook them up in like OG Minecraft. And it was so cool for me to be able to like let them voice chat with each other and play even though they didn't have the same hardware at home. And I mean, it was a really cool experience because she hasn't seen them in so long. And, you know, she could hop into their Minecraft world, and she helped my nephew build a house, and she was just thrilled to be able to play with them in some kind of way. I mean, they're all the way in Washington, and there's no way we're headed there. So, I mean, I don't think there's a lot to this story, obviously, but I just think it's a really cool, positive thing out there that, you know, even though the marketing behind this has kind of ended, companies are still pushing to put player bases together and let people enjoy playing on regardless of what they've got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know next to nothing actually about Minecraft Dungeons. It's Diablo-like, except with Minecraft, and that's literally all I know.
Yeah. I'm not a Minecraft Dungeons guy either, or really a Minecraft guy, but the more you get players together, the more I'm a fan. I just really wanted to throw that out there. I think it's a nice, positive story. Moving on.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Deathloop potentially is releasing on May 20th, 2021 per a New Zealand PlayStation Store leak. Again, this comes from VG27.com or VG247.com. These stories, I would write this off if it was from anywhere but the official PlayStation Store. There's a dime a dozen, like every week there's some retailer saying some game is coming out sometime, but it's very rare that it's an actual platform holder. That said, I'm not really excited by Deathloop. It was announced when the first PS5 State of Play, and it seems like an interesting idea, don't get me wrong, but they just haven't done enough to sell me on the game. Like I've seen like 5 trailers now, I feel like, and I still don't really know what it's about other than that you die and you come back and you Groundhog Day yourself until you win. Cool. But that's like every video game. Like you die, you come back and you try a different tactic and eventually you win. So it's like, they haven't really sold me on it unless there's something extra to this. Amber, I want to throw this to you. Have you checked out Deathloop yet, or have you seen any of the trailers?
Oh, no, I have seen the trailers. No, I have. Sorry, that's quick, right? No, but I have seen the trailers, and I agree with you. I'm not very interested. There's nothing that grabbed me. I kind of like the art style, but you know, that's kind of as far as that goes.
Like I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, the art's pretty cool, but what is this game? I'm not. I haven't clicked with it at all. Ash, you were going to say something.
Oh, I mean, I just basically agree with you guys. The Deathloop trailers have done nothing for me. I don't know, the whole feeling of the game just isn't really my thing. I think there's potential in it for sure. I don't want to write it off, but it just isn't really standing out to me personally. I kind of feel the same way about that I do Godfall. Not really my thing. But I think Deathloop has a lot more potential than Godfall, I should say.
I like the character design in Godfall, but it's very wowy.
Right.
Go ahead, Derek.
Well, I was just going to say the thing that always confuses me most about Deathloop is it seems to be a single player focused experience where you're trying to get this mission done, and they talk about, well, I failed this time. Well, I'm learning how everything goes, going to make it happen. And at the end, they always show that woman who apparently is hunting the guy you're playing. So is it like an AI doing it, or is this sort of an asynchronous multiplayer game? And I don't know if they've come out and said that yet, because maybe one player is trying to complete the mission while another player is trying to kill that person, and who knows, maybe another player is trying to kill them. So it really is a death loop of people just trying to kill each other as it's going on. I don't know. That's the thing. Their messaging has been kind of poor.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know if the game itself is good or bad. I have no clue. But like Derek said, the messaging is all over the place. I don't have a clear idea of what the hell Deathloop is. And it might be one of those games where when I pick it up, I just totally love it. But and I haven't written it off, but it would definitely benefit from a demo. So if you're listening, maybe put out a demo for that. It might be worth it. Let's round out with the dumbest story of the day. Microsoft had to tell people not to vape into their damn Xbox Series X because it looks like it's on fire. Like, there's a viral video going around, people claiming the Xbox Series X is catching fire. It's not. Somebody just vaped into it, which is an objectively 2020 move. Yeah. And
it is
now Microsoft, in another 2020 move, had to put out a PSA telling people not to do it. You just spent $500 on the thing. Maybe don't blow cherry vapor into it.
I mean, depending on where you live, closer to $600 with tax. Like, why would you do that?
I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like along the same lines of people microwaving their iPhones, or like there were those, kind of iPhone rumors going around a while back where it's waterproof and you can, now they are waterproof, but before they were, people were saying, dip your phone your iPhone in water and something will happen. I can't remember, but people were also microwaving their iPhones. Like,
oh yeah. I remember an old meme that was like introducing fast charging on the iPhone. Just throw it in the microwave for 30 seconds to refill your battery, and people did it. So I don't know. I mean, I can't believe I'm having to that we're even discussing this, but I mean, people were licking Switch cartridges 4 years ago, so I guess I shouldn't be too shocked. So what do
I mean? I'll be honest. This gives me the same sort of vibes. It's actually a more clever take on the typical thing that people do, where just got the console, people are waiting in line, that person takes out the console, immediately starts smashing it to pieces to piss off the people in the line. Like, what are you doing?
Wait, that happened?
Let's say, in other previous console launches, people took a PS3 and did that, and like in front of people who are waiting in line for it. I've seen which console can be tossed out the window and not, break the least. Upon launch, it's always like these stress tests and
drop tests, stress tests.
Exactly. And it's all it does is come across as, you dick. Like, how, like somebody actually wants to play this and you're destroying the dang thing. Why?
Like,
I get it. I get it in terms doesn't do that, where it doesn't destroy the console. I don't know for sure, but so I have to say, at least it's a little bit more innocuous.
I get that in terms of like tech review channels. Like there is value in, like, I follow a couple of tech review channels, like Jonathan Morrison, for instance, and channels like that will do drop tests for smartphones and stuff. And there actually is actual value in that in a professional setting. But yeah, like what you're talking about, Derek, where people just go and take a hammer to a PS3 in front of people in line waiting for one. That's just like, what you doing? What are you doing?
I love the look on Amber's face throughout this discussion.
Sorry,
she's
just abject horror.
God.
I am disgusted. Why would you do that? That's like $500, right? 500, 300, or 400, whatever. You're pissing away money, dude. Sorry,
Give
I was trying to
someone
fix my
that
face.
$500. Donate it. Donate it to the needy. If you're really looking for a great way to waste $500, not saying that it's a waste to donate it, but you could give it to someone who needs it instead of maybe just smashing an Xbox on YouTube.
But then they don't get the lulz, Steve.
I was about to say the cloud.
Right, the
cloud.
How could I forget?
I like
the viral tweet.
I like what Charlie Bird says here. Watch Sony say the PS5 is totally safe to vape into. Feel free.
that is a Sony move.
What a great response. Yeah, right.
That is such a Sony move.
I shouldn't put this out in the universe, but I wonder who's gonna like vape into the bottom of the PS5 and see if it carries up through the vent, like in the middle of it. Don't do that. I'm sorry for even saying.
If we see it on Twitter, we know who started this.
Yeah, exactly. did you guys? There was another one beyond the vaping. Somebody was showing a ping pong ball hovering above the fan, and that was proven to be fake as well. Like there's enough air coming out that it could levitate.
That would actually be cool.
Yeah, I'd honestly like that'd be a cool feature. I'd be down for that. It'd be probably hella loud, but sounds fun.
Like the ping pong ball. So,
yeah. So I think that's it. I think we've hit the end of the news for today, and just in time. So that wraps up all the major headlines from today's news. I think we're done. So
hey Steve, sorry, really quick. Mind if I interject really quick? I forgot to do this yesterday, but I have a quick shout out to make. I issued a fun little unofficial challenge on Twitter where I retweeted our first episode of Today's News Tonight. And I said, and that's our first episode of Today's News Tonight in the books. Now it is the beginning of a fantastic story. And I told Twitter, whoever names the game I'm referencing first, I would shout them out. And the game, of course, is Bubble Bobble. And Zalman, @EnterZalman, was the one who got that first. So I apologize for forgetting that yesterday, but there's your shout out, Zalman. Congratulations on getting Bubble Bobble.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, with that, that's all the major news, including who won Ash's tweet contest. So congratulations on your shout out. I hope you're watching, preferably live. But before we sign off, we have to give special thanks to all our patrons at the producer tier for helping to make this show happen. And in addition, we have a massive thank you to our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And those fine folks are Rob Arman X, without the dash. I'm sorry that I put that in there last night, but we got it fixed today. Dan and Twistle, Zapati, Adam O'Sullivan, Floating Mew, Christopher, The D-Pad, Vesmio, OnStar, Dukemon, Diogo, Kieran Phillips, Benny Yao, Rosa Bowling, hi mom, Geller, Shiny Turkey, Titus Malvolio, Jake Pelka, Michael Phone, Mitchell Herring, and Game Explain. Remember, you too can become a patron over at patreon.com/gvgaming, where you can watch Today's News Tonight live for as little as $5 a month. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like the video, be sure to subscribe to Good Vibes Gaming for more good times like this. Until next time, good night.
Hey,
and good
don't you sign off yet.
I was like,
how dare you? Don't you have somebody that we need to plug?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Amber.
This is what you get for reading off script. Poor Amber here. How
I'm so sorry.
dare you, Steve?
It's okay. It's what I get for not playing a Mega Man game.
I know. I'm sorry, Amber. I'm reading off an iPad. Sorry, folks.
Amber, where can we find your lovely stuff? Because unfortunately, I tried my hardest to find RPG news, and there was none today. I tried so hard.
It's okay. When I looked at the topics, I was like, oh, all right, we're going to do our best with no RPG news. Because, that's my bread and butter. That's what I'm about on my channel, Pelvic Gaming. I review JRPGs, new and old. I'm going through the classic backlog. I'm actually currently playing Final Fantasy 14 After Years. But I'm also playing Trials of Mana Remake, which is making it so much more easier. I can endure it. Trials of Mana is easy. After Years is
nice.
Stay tuned for the review, guys. Repetitive, redundant. We're gonna move on. But yeah, and then you can also find me on Twitter at Lady Pelvic. I'm very active on there. I talk about the games I'm playing and how much I'm enjoying Trials of Mana Remake. And thank you, of course, to the guys at Good Vibes Gaming. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It's really an honor.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll be sure to have you back when we have a JRPG news heavy day.
Yeah.
We'll
please
absolutely have
do.
you back on for that.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yes.
Please.
No doubt.
We need to show you in your element.
Do we have another potential member for the eventual Final Fantasy VII Remake discussion that we're hoping to wish into being?
Have you played 7 Remake yet, Amber?
No, I was like, you can't include me in that. I've never played Final Fantasy VII. I've never played that one. I think because people talk about it so much, I'm like, I'm not going to play it because everybody's played it. That's my backwards logic. I'm just about games that...
you gotta play it.
I know. I just want... Maybe I'll wait till, it's done, the remake. I just want a complete package. Because I heard it's very padded.
We'll see
you in 10 years. You'll see me in 10 years. But, no, thank you guys,
in
seriously,
2038,
so
when Square finally releases it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Are we ready? Are we ready?
Yes. Now,
Have I forgotten?
you may
anything else?
proceed.
Okay. We're going to do this. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for watching this episode of Today's News Tonight. As a reminder, if you want to join us live in the audience, you can subscribe to us on Patreon at patreon.com/gbgaming, where for $5, you can join us live every weeknight for the taping of Today's News Tonight. If you don't feel like doing it, it will be available later on our YouTube channel sometime that evening. Thank you again to our special guest, Amber, for joining us. Find her at youtube.com/Pelvic Gaming, correct?
Yep, you got it.
All right. See, I got something right. And with that, we're signing off. Again,
Thanks,
I'll
everybody.
see you guys next time. Good night and good vibes.
Bye.
Bye.
Toodles.
Bye.